As we get close to that official start, I'm just going to recap our plan for the day. You are here for 60-minute slow flow yoga. I'm Jen. Prop suggestions, yoga blocks or light dumbbells, or even a single hardcover book. So if you don't have blocks or light dumbbells, I want to ensure that as we move a lot through the hips today, that your lower back is supported because we're going to really work through spine and hips quite a bit. And then I have my blanket off to the side, especially when we're seated anytime. Feel free to put some cushion under a hip or an ankle or a knee. If anything, just could use a little extra cushion today. Barbara, good to have you on. So, with all of that said, I'm going to restart some music. And if you have not yet, let's start to connect to our mat. And do you feel that sometimes of like, hey, Matt, I just love, right? I just sometimes really love my yoga mat. I can feel the fact that I just get to be whatever my body wants to be, wherever my brain is. That I hope you feel that same thing, that wherever your space is, your yoga mat is just kind of your sanctuary. And as you start to feel ready, I invite you to start to make your way to your back. There's no rush to get there. Gloria, good to see you. Hi, Wendy. Greetings, Debo. Thanks for hopping on, Tanya. And give yourself a little time to feel into the body. And that might mean giving yourself permission to not even be moving. And maybe you just experiment with that. I think sometimes my body just automatically kind of instinctually starts to shift around, but noticing if it feels right to just allow yourself to be present here, feeling your breath, but letting any sways or even little stretches, maybe even wiggling the fingers, the wrists, the toes, and just getting that sense of kind of squishiness into your mat. Letting your body feel held for these next few moments. And maybe that physical sensation of being held lets you soften physically. Maybe it also lets your brain let go a little bit. Kind of noticing that combination of the hanging on we do with our thoughts, with the to-dos, with the tasking, with the week prior. Start to let that go. And as you feel ready, wherever your body is positioned, I invite you to maybe bring one hand over your belly, one hand over your heart, and you might even close your eyes briefly. And as some of you heard me say just a moment ago, see how it feels to bring your brain to your breath. So literally thinking about your inhales and exhales, and it doesn't mean you have to change your breathing at all, but really allowing that kind of rooting down in our conscious mind to be present here to feel our breathing. And if it's curious to you to explore maybe a deeper belly breath in, you've got potentially that touch point on your body to feel where your breath is traveling. And maybe you give yourself a few exhales where you're not afraid to make some sound. We might use a little bit of that today, giving yourself maybe a soft sigh. And then as you're ready, you could certainly keep your hands connected to your body. I'm going to have knees bent with my feet a little wider than the hips, and I'm just going to start to sway my knees side to side. And this could be kind of the knees moving in symmetry with one another. Sometimes my kind of knee that's dropping inward gets a little bit more play. However this starts to feel in your body. Getting a little movement potentially across the knees, hips, and even the lower back, a little bit of the spine. I'm just going to reposition myself briefly as we continue to do this. Good to see you, Mercedes. Randy, thanks for hopping on. And as you feel ready, a couple of extra ways you could play. So as my knees soften to the left, I'm going to actually pause and stretch my right arm up toward my ear, kind of reaching overhead, and just see how it feels to create a little bit more space in that right side body. And then coming through to maybe go to the other side. So my knees happen to be to the right now, and that would mean my left arm is reaching up. And I'm keeping the knees staggered in that kind of windshield wiper movement. So going back and forth, you could start to sweep kind of the right leg above the left leg when you take that twist. So it feels better to have the knees more stacked instead of staggered. You get to choose how that rotation in the spine feels best to your body. Take a few more rounds. And then we're going to kind of work a similar setup, but just to create more space again in the side body. So let's meet with the feet planted, knees bent, but bring them back to about hip distance apart. I'm going to take my right leg out straight, right and left arm just kind of supporting my body. And then I'm going to push through my left foot to almost lift to like a side rolling bridge pose. So I'm rolling onto my right side and I'm lifting and kind of squeezing up with my left kind of glute muscle, the side of the body. You could even here reach the left arm overhead again if that would feel right. And then I'm going to roll all the way back, bring my right knee to bend, take the left leg straight, and then kind of pushing through that right foot to roll onto my left side. Your right arm could come overhead or support your body. So kind of this side lying bridge pose. I'm going to give you a few more moments. If you want to go one more time on each side, you could also just stay with that long leg stretch if you don't want to invite in that side roll. Just kind of see how this is feeling in your body. Creating some space, creating some movement to greet the spine, the lower back, and the hips. And when you feel balanced and ready, let's meet on our back with the knees in, lifted, and then extend the legs toward the ceiling. And I invite you to just see how it feels to have the legs up, and maybe you actually reach your arms toward the ceiling too, but press your shoulder blades into the floor and your tailbone into the floor and just feel this connection of your back body with some length. And then feel free to kind of wiggle around. You might keep the arms up and wiggle. You might walk around through the feet or roll through the ankles. Just kind of give some shifts or movements to feel whatever's happening in your hamstrings today. And again, I'm just going to quick change position for visual. Let's then bring hands to the outsides of the thighs and open up to a wide V. And I'm using my hands on the outsides of my legs so I can kind of guide into this potential inner thigh stretch without going too far. So just kind of see where that sensation happens. I like to flex and point my feet here. Again, feeling as though your entire spine from tailbone to the top of your head is on the mat. And then I'm going to bring my feet closer but keep the knees out kind of in a butterfly shape. And I'm going to start by holding the outsides of my legs. But maybe as that stretch feels more welcome, you could bring your hands to the inside, and that's going to put pressure down. So just kind of see how that feels across your back. Maybe another ankle roll or two. And then I'm going to guide my knees back together above my hips so my legs are still lifted, arms at the sides. Could you, from the hip, turn the legs out and in? So it kind of looks like I'm going butterfly shape and then kind of knock-kneed, but I'm trying to create that movement from the hip joint. So this internal and external rotation of the hips, and we're going to come back to this a couple of times today. Our hip joint is meant to go all directions, so just kind of checking what all directions feels like when we're warming up. And then start to give the knees a really big hug and rock your body around, maybe side to side, or maybe you want to rock along your spine. You're going to determine which way is going to feel best for your body to go from the ground to upright. So you might kick and roll along your spine, you might roll to one side, but let's meet facing the top of your mat. Good to see you, Madeline. Good to see you, Raquel. Let's sit cross-legged. You can choose which side you want to do first. So if you feel like you have kind of a more at ease side, maybe you save that for the second round. Feel free to sit up on a blanket or a pillow. Feel your sitting bones press down, but feel your spine and heart lift. I'm going to set my hands next to the hips, and then let's reach the right arm up to kind of side bend over to the left. And then from here, can you keep your hips pretty firmly planted and rotate at your upper body to turn to look more toward the left side of your space, and then rotate back to your side bend and then come back up. We'll go the other way. So left arm is reaching, I'm tilting. Try to soften your shoulders. And then this really intentional rotation, be really thoughtful. Keep your hips pretty planted so it's more upper back. Come back to face the front and lift back up. We'll go one more time each side. Find length as you tilt. So does your spine still feel long? Rotate whenever you feel ready. Come back around whenever you feel ready. And this is a part with these offerings, we'll switch, that you get to feel your spine and back. So as I kind of set this up as a structure to work from, you determine where that space feels best. We'll meet with both hands next to the hips. Does it feel like a woot woot kind of day to switch? Woot woot. Yeah, I thought so. I know, I warned you there might be sound today. All right, which side are you on? Favorite, or maybe it's a little more awkward. When you're ready, let's try to use some breath. Can you inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist to the left. Breathe out, stay for a breath or two. Use your next really big inhale. Breathe up, stretch up, exhale, twist to the right. So I invite you to really use, when you're ready to switch, a big inhale, grow tall, 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 and then exhale, switch. Make sure you create that space. Breathe in, maybe you sigh out. Make that breath work for you. We'll go a few more rounds. You are choosing what pace you want to work from, but using every inhale to really lift, that this twist gets the most benefit when we're long, not caving into the spine. When you feel ready, We'll meet back facing the front. No rush to get there. I'm going to help my legs unwind, maybe with just a woot. And I'm going to shake them out in front. I find cross-legged does a lot in my knees right away. So I'm just going to wiggle them out, and we'll make our way to tabletop pose when you feel ready. So good to see you all this morning. Thanks for carving out space today. Spreading your hands nice and wide in tabletop with your fingertips away from the top of the mat a bit, because we'll shift forward in just a few moments. Once you're in your tabletop pose, let this be your time to organically move through your spine. Cows and cats are usually where I start because I appreciate how familiar they are, and they kind of become my launching point for just any other movements. And that doesn't mean you have to move in other directions. This is really that time to start to elevate you being just full of whatever movement you want today, full of breath. See if you can deepen your inhales and exhales as you're shifting around. Maybe another time to just close your eyes and tap into little sensations. How's the neck? How are your hips? How's your spine? And then when you're ready, let's all walk the hands forward, just like a handprint or two, and let your hips soften. We'll pause in a low plank. So if you can, let's be here for just a few breaths. And I'm actually going to lift and lower my hips just a little bit. So kind of this little pulsing using the core to make sure that I feel like I'm actually really straight. Notice if your head is dropping, lift your chin, look out in front of your hands. If you're okay going to the belly, hug the elbows in and lower all the way down. If not, press back and return to tabletop, where you'll spend more time in cows and cats. From the belly, let's take time finding any sort of variation of cobra with whatever pace of breath you want. Maybe you want to press through the hands and hold for a few breaths. Maybe you started to enjoy that inhale to lift and exhale to lower as we started moving with breath earlier. From either tabletop or the belly, let's take the hands wide and tent the fingertips. Find spontaneous shoulder movements. So from the belly, it's a lift to cobra on the fingertips, and then dipping one shoulder down, lifting up, and then dipping the other shoulder down. If you did come to the belly, you might still find that you prefer to be in tabletop for these shoulder movements, because it's a lot to ask of the lower back, and it can be a lot on the shoulders. So taking some time to just find your movements. Where could you find a little softness? How's your jaw right now? Find a little breath. Find maybe that sticky spot if you have one, and you can always just kind of linger for a breath or two whenever you feel ready. Let's reconnect back in tabletop pose. So take your time if you're not there already. And then let's curl the toes under. Take your hands forward. Feel your heart soften down as your tailbone stretches up and away. Almost like there's a string at the base of your spine that someone is giving a gentle tug to, but keep your shoulders pressing away from your ears. Can you try to soften through your neck, whether your head touches or not? From here, really press through the palms. I'm going to inhale and actually try to round like cat. And then I'm going to exhale, press my heart toward the mat. So I'm just going to flow back and forth. Inhale, round. Exhale, soften, and just feeling a little bit more movement in the spine in this kind of puppy pose position. When you are ready, let's make our way back to tabletop. So I want to give you just a little prop setup if you have them. If you have blocks or dumbbells, let's set one in front of your fingertips, and let's set one of them out next to your left hand. And you may or may not use them, but I want to ensure they're kind of in a decent place if you do decide to give that a grab. And then from tabletop pose, let's take the right leg long behind. Nudge the hip down so your hips feel like they're facing the floor. Maybe your left arm will join, balancing tabletop. And we talk about sometimes the benefit of this pose is sometimes the wobble. So don't be afraid if there's wiggle here. See what it takes to draw the low ribs in to feel your breath support the shape. Let's bring the left hand back down, the right toes to the floor. The leg is still long. And I'm just going to soften my right heel back and down. You might feel a little calf stretch. You could certainly pulse this forward and back. And then we start a little hip extravaganza. When you're ready, shoulders over wrists, that straight right leg is going to start to sweep to the right and to the left. So I'm crossing over to the side of the mat and just kind of finding this range of motion. Your toes might touch, or you might just kind of let the leg hover. Can you eventually sweep your right leg off to the right side of the mat? Readjust the hip to plant your foot fully, right toes forward. You're kind of in this half frog. This may be a time to bring that front block under your hands. Let's go ahead and shift the weight front to back. You could curl your left toes under or keep the top of the foot down. There's a lot of things that could surface here. You might feel the right inner thigh, the left knee. Hopefully the lower back gets a nice stretch here because the spine is tall. I'm going to start to face you. From here, let's keep the weight forward. So shoulders over wrists, left hand will stay down. Open and twist to the right. Feel your heart really expand toward the ceiling. Right arm can stay lifted. I'm going to half bind. So I'm going to turn my palm behind me, bend the elbow, and let the top of the right hand just land at the small of the back. Could you keep stretching front to back? So send your tailbone to the back of the mat, the crown of the head toward the front of the mat. Maybe you press into your right hand. Full breath in, full breath out. Let's unwind. Bring your right hand down. Feel your hips level. I'm going to start to walk my hands. Maybe you've got that block, right? That's off to the left, left, right. Yeah, correct. Walking both hands toward the left side. My left hand is going to stay on the block, and I'm going to sweep my right arm around to supported side plank. So feeling a little rotation in your spine. So good. From here, right arm toward the ceiling. I'm going to use an exhale to sweep right arm under left and then open back up. So this is, again, rotation in your spine. You can choose if this is more just upper back or maybe your hips are turning slightly as well. Your choice. When you're ready, let's meet opening facing the front of the mat. Right hand to your hip. Can you keep your left hand down but bend your right knee and kind of come on your tiptoes? My toes are turned out to the side. I'm going to go hip open, hip closed, hip open, hip closed. So good. You might raise up your block or dumbbell. So if that feels like a big tilt for this hip movement, I'm wondering if you can use your left leg more for support than your left arm. Yeah. From here, plant your right foot, toes. Don't plant your right foot. Keep your right heel lifted. Maybe you find a moment to find a back bend. I'm going to press my hips forward and almost try to fall back just a bit with my upper body. Just see how that feels to create that love of the lower back. Big breath in. Big breath out. Lift your torso. Now plant your right foot fully. Power off of that left arm. Right arm comes next to right thigh. A little mini side angle, we call this. I'm going to sweep my left arm in a big circle one direction, and then I'm going to circle it the other way. Doesn't matter which way you went first. But could we meet with your left arm in a little cactus bend? So kind of bending left elbow. I'm pressing my right arm into my right thigh to turn my torso. Maybe you look over to the left side of your space. Where could your body use breath right now? Take a full breath in, full breath out. Let's bring your hands to your heart. Shift your weight a little bit more into that left knee. I'm going to start to walk my right foot around until it's facing the front of the mat. And I'm going to come to be the same direction you are now. So you're in a low lunge facing the front of your mat, and feel free to get a little shifty here. So we just went from a big hip opening position back to hips neutral, and then find a place where you want to pause. Hips kind of soften down. Your hands could be at your heart or your hips. Maybe you reach up, create that upper body position where your body just says, "Ooh, yeah, that feels right." Whatever that is, there's no better way to be positioned here. When you're ready, can you shift your weight back a little bit out of that right foot? Bring your right knee next to your left, tops of feet on the mat. Could you sit down and just start to see how that feels? You might end up putting your hands down to help support that stretch. I know this seems right. All I'm doing is sitting, but oh, hello, quadriceps, knees, ankles, right? Give yourself grace. This is not an easy position to be in. When you're ready, if your hands are already planted, let's meet the folks that are there and crawl out to tabletop pose. Give yourself a moment to move through your spine. Cows, cats, any other direction. That was quite an extravaganza. Are you feeling the goodness of the extravaganza? Are you giving yourself the grace and love of the hips? Let's give that left side an opportunity. Wipe off any thoughts you had about the right hip. Here we go. One block maybe in front of your hands, maybe one of them outside of your right hand. Oh, thank you, Aubrey. I have to tell you, this one I'm having to be really aware of my words. I want to make sure you all don't have to stare at me. What is she doing? Let's take left leg lifted, long behind. Draw the toes toward your body. Nudge your left hip down just a little bit. Mine tends to just rotate, so I'm really trying to think of kind of hips like headlights facing the floor, lighting up under your body. Maybe right arm extends, balancing tabletop. And that doesn't mean balance, means stillness. There's so much goodness in wobble. Can you feel that? Did you feel that? How your body responds to that little wiggle? I know, don't laugh though. That doesn't help. When you're ready, right hand comes back down, left toes touch the floor. And I'm just going to kind of send my left heel toward the ground. And you could start to wiggle this around a little bit, front to back. And then as you're ready, again, shoulders over wrists, we start to sweep the left leg like a big windshield wiper off to the right and off to the left. And the leg can be floating, you can be touching the toes, but notice if it feels like your back is kind of moving with you. I want to try to keep as much stability in your spine as possible. Again, I'm just going to quickly start to face you as you meet me to sweep the left foot all the way out, plant the foot, readjust. Maybe hands come to your block. And then we'll get a little shifty here, and you don't have to move. If you find a position where you just want to hold, please do. Again, your right toes could curl under or be rested down on your mat. I like the blocks under my hands here because then I know I'm keeping my heart lifted and I'm not accidentally caving into my spine. When you're ready, let's meet with shoulders over wrists. Right hand stays down, open and twist to the left. Your left arm can reach up. Maybe you try that half bind again, where your palm turns behind you, you bend the elbow, and the top of the hand just kind of lands wherever it lands. Continue to stretch your spine from front to back while you rotate. Maybe there's a little extra push in your left hand to feel your body turn a little bit more toward the ceiling. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Let's unwind. Feel your torso and your hips really land level. And then I'm going to start to walk both hands off to the right. I'm going to bring my right hand to that block, and I'm going to sweep my left arm kind of up to open me to this supported side plank. So that just kind of thoughtful movement of the spine. And then once you're here, thoracic rotation. I'm going to look up toward my left hand and then rotate left arm under right. And you don't have to be moving your head here. It might just kind of feel natural to follow that left arm with your head and neck, but don't over exaggerate that if that doesn't feel right to you. Take a few more rounds. Maybe again, your hips are moving with you. Maybe it's just kind of more upper body. But let's meet with the left arm up briefly. I'm going to bring my left hand to the hip. I'm going to bend my left knee, coming onto the toes with the knee and toes kind of facing off to the side. I'm going to go hip open, hip closed. Oh, good time for some funky beat in the background, huh? I know you could add some arms here. You could do some like Saturday Night Fever maybe. I don't know. Okay. And then when you're ready, stay up on the toes, but have the knee open. We call this kind of mini wild thing. Sweep your left arm up and maybe press your hips forward. So it's this back bend, like you're kind of creating that space like you're going to fall backwards, but hopefully find some softness in your jaw and your chest. Bring yourself level. Plant your left foot fully. Push out of that right hand to tilt you up to mini side angle. So I'm letting my hips soften out toward that left foot, left arm pressing, sweep your right arm in a big circle one direction, and then maybe the other direction, doesn't matter which way you went first. And then we'll meet with that little press to find that space in our kind of mini side angle. And then how about that cactus bend of your right arm? And maybe you push into your left leg to rotate a little bit and look off to the right side of the mat. Full breath in. Full breath out. Bring your body a little bit more upright, so a little more weight into your right knee. Hands come in, and we'll start to slowly walk your left foot around. Can you feel your hip turn, right? We just went from hip open to neutral. I'm going to be facing how you are, front of your mat, and just spend some time in your low crescent lunge. Again, there can be movement here. You might just find that spot where you're like, oh, that feels really good, and stay. Hands can come to heart or hips. Did you hear how I tried to go bass there? Oh, yeah. I am more alto than soprano, I'm not gonna lie. Take another big breath in and a big breath out. And then hands come in. Shift your weight back a little bit. Bring your left knee next to your right. Now we did prepare both feet. So this time when you sit, you could curl the toes under and come to try to sit in toe squat. This is a really great stretch for your Achilles, your calves, and to prevent plantar fasciitis. Don't stay in pain. This one can get into that crossing that threshold of maybe it's mildly uncomfortable, maybe it's painful. Whenever you feel ready, let's walk your hands out, tabletop pose. If you did have the toes curled under there, maybe uncurl them and just kind of gently tap your feet out. And then what do you want to do here to just kind of finish our time on the ground? Do you want to take some cows and cats and maybe come to a puppy pose? Do you want to spend some time again on the belly? with a variation of cobra? Do you want to end up in a child's pose? Give yourself some time to just kind of flesh out where we were, check in with your body, just to kind of see what's happening, what you're feeling, what the sensations are, and just noticing where your brain is right now. Maybe it would be helpful as you find a place to pause and land, to find that, again, connection to inhale and exhale. It's all you need right now. Awareness of your next inhale, that nice big breath out. When you're ready, we're going to make our way to tabletop pose. I'm just going to make sure that I have at least one of my blocks kind of out in front of my mat as we start to make our way to standing. I like that for a visual and sometimes actually for a support of my hands. If you want to find a down dog along the way, walk your hands forward, maybe one handprint, curl the toes under, drive your hips up as you send your chest toward your legs, bend your knees more than you think you want to, especially to start with. Can you feel that tilt at the waist? Almost like if you're familiar with a deadlift, I'm really hinging at the waist here. Shake your head yes and no. And if you realize down dog just doesn't feel good to my body today, put the knees back down. It's the same stretch. Take a few more breaths to, again, kind of shift around in your down dog. Maybe even pedal your heels. Maybe it feels good to just breathe and hold. When you're ready, we're all going to walk to the top of the mat. So bending the knees more if you're in down dog. Look where you're going. Float the knees if they weren't. Take your walk. And we'll meet in halfway lift. Pressing hands into block or dumbbell or shins or thighs. And again, get a little shifty here just to find that sweet spot where your knees have enough bend so your spine is long. Oh, I went alto again. Press your shoulders away from your ears. Every once in a while, my husband can hear me and he'll be like, why were you yelling at your class? Take a few more breaths. Staying here to, again, kind of wiggle or shift, or maybe you head to a ragdoll fold, where you're really letting gravity create a stretch in your back body. So there's kind of this sensation of letting the crown of your head feel like it's being tugged to the floor. You can keep hands on something. You could grab for opposite elbows if you're finding this gravity enhanced stretch to feel really welcome. Take a few more breaths, keeping that curiosity about your body without any judgment and just noticing. And when you're ready, pressing your hands out in front, lift your heart and chest, bend your legs a lot to power through the feet. Rise up, stretch up, reach up, exhale, hands to heart. We're going to use a transition today to Warrior Two, actually from the hands down to work through the spine and to really set up the hips. So if you have blocks or dumbbells, I would recommend setting them outside of your feet at the higher setting, so on the bells or the tall blocks. If you don't have blocks or dumbbells, you decide if the hands are going to touch or not. They don't have to touch the ground. Then from the top of your mat, feet hip distance, let's take that big stretch up. I'm going to pretend to sit in a chair pose. I'm going to sit really low, heart stays up until my hands touch my blocks or they can float. Step your right leg back. Then spin your right foot flat and maybe you sweep your right arm like a cartwheel to open you up to Warrior Two and then adjust, right? Not like you got to come up there and stick the landing. So check in. Left toes are forward, right foot turned. I'm kind of balance beam under the feet and I'm trying to let my hips soften to the floor. So even though my left leg is bent, I'm going to feel that help of my right leg. Let's mimic what we did on the ground. I'm going to hinge a little bit the waist, press my left arm into my left leg. I'm going to sweep my right arm in a big circle one direction, and then I'm going to sweep it the other way. And then let's pause. You decide where that right arm goes. Maybe it comes toward the right ear. Maybe it's straight up toward the ceiling. Maybe it's reaching behind you. Could you press a little bit more of left arm into left leg? What would it feel like to let your hips drop down a little bit? So good. Power through that front foot. Rise up, lift up, stretch up. Hands come in, turn all 10 toes to face the long edge of your mat. Maybe you just kind of bend the knees a little bit and move one of those blocks or dumbbells so it's going to be under your chest. We're coming to a wide fold of your choice, but I would invite you to get there by bending the knees. Keep your heart up as you send your hips back. Let your hands land and then lengthen your legs. I like to also lengthen my spine here. So I like to lift my heart and my chin so I feel this full stretch in my spine and my hamstrings. You could ragdoll here. Check in with how much bend of the knees feels supportive to your back. Maybe you adjust the width of the feet. If your hamstrings are really tight, I'd encourage you to take the feet wider apart, or you could certainly bring them closer if you need to feel more sensation. And then when you're ready, can we press to lift the heart back up? Could you turn your toes out, heels in, start to drop the hips and bring your hands up so they're on your thighs, thumbs on the inside, revolved goddess. I'm going to alternate some shoulder dips here. So I'm getting a little hip opening. You might even use your hands to kind of press your knees open. Make sure you can wiggle your toes. So we're trying to make sure that the knees were not like in a plie. Yeah, I know, doesn't that look like I'm not a ballerina? Take a few more rounds. When you're ready, level the chest, level the hips, rise up, reach up, stretch up, 5-point star. Arms go up, legs are long. Your elbows and your knees are slightly bent. Bring your hands in, walk that left foot closer to your right foot so you're more toward the back of your mat. And then we're going to step it out and in what I call a sunflower flow. You can watch first. I'm going to step my left foot out, throw it down, and then come back up. Right, it's the left foot every time, out and up. This could be that time where you just don't even realize your breath is just going to go. Let it go. What do you feel like you need to release? Even from this practice so far, send something out from the week. Just send it through the floor. Oh, I am yelling at you. Bring your hands to your heart. And we're going to slowly bring that left foot back out and turn to the front. We're going to come back to Warrior 2 one more time, just to see how it feels to come back. We did a lot already since we were here last. Feel your hips relax. Feel your shoulders melt down. You could turn your palms up to let your shoulders find a little more softness. Bring your hands in, lengthen the legs. Remember, we did this on the ground. I'm going to start to shimmy through my hips, and I'm going to turn my feet to face the front. So we did that exact same thing on the floor. We were hip open. Now we're hip neutral. If you're okay staying on the back tippy toes, high crescent lunge. I want to invite you to find cactus arms. And again, only if that feels right to you. There's something I like about that position of the arms that helps me really open the chest and the heart, which in turn might create a little bit of a back bend in the body, which is really good for the lower back. Find some breath. We're going to go from here to airplane. Maybe you keep these arms. I'm going to walk my right foot a little closer and then try to float my right foot. Keeping cactus arms is a lot of strength demand on your back. Again, in a good way. You could keep your right toes touching. You could bring your arms to your sides instead. Take a few more breaths. Now you're going to choose if you need a pit stop along the way, or maybe you tilt up and right away grab your right foot with your right hand, quadriceps stretch. Oh, left hand can support somewhere. Stay here. Or move your hand to hold the inside of your right foot, the arch side, and maybe you kick a little bit to come into dancer. And the kick is just creating more space in the body. When I kick, I tend to tilt a little bit. I like to reach my left arm or hold something. You determine where this shape is going. There's not a destination to get to. The kick is an option. Make sure your left knee is staying soft. You've been on that left leg for a long time. Give it a big breath in. When you are ready, we meet with 2 feet at the top of the mat. However you get there, take a big breath up, cleansing breath out. Do that again. Big breath up, cleansing breath out. Woo! How are we doing? Okay, let's do the second side, shall we? I know, I guess I just kind of needed to dance for a second and just say, hey, deal. All right, block. Top of the mat. We're going to do that step back to Warrior 2. So I'm going to put my blocks outside my feet. And again, if you don't have height for hands, determine whether or not you even put the hands down. It's fine either way. From feet hip distance, I'm going to stretch up and reach. I'm going to come to sit like I'm trying to sit in a chair. Send the hips back. Keep the heart up. Briefly touch the hands or stay upright. Send the left leg back. Spin your left foot flat and then use your left arm to sweep you up like a big reverse cartwheel. We start to set up so good our Warrior 2. I'm going to turn to face you. Right toes forward, left toes turned. Just give yourself a little time to kind of feel that hip softening down, and then we'll mimic what we did on the ground. I'm going to tip at the waist a bit. Right arm pushes into the right inner thigh. Left arm will do a big circle one direction, and then a big circle the other direction, just to feel that strength in your torso. And then you land your left arm wherever you like. Maybe it's toward the left ear and you're pressing the left foot down for that big side body stretch toward the ceiling, maybe out behind you. Could you push a little bit more into the right leg? Could you press your left foot more firmly to the floor and let your hips drop down just a little bit? Full breath in, full breath out. Push through the feet, rise up, lift up, stretch up. Exhale, hands come down. Turn all 10 toes to face the long edge of your mat. This next part is just a literal repeat, but you get to tease it out. Maybe one of those blocks comes back to be under your chest. We head to a wide fold. Toes in, slightly from the heels, soften through the knees. Land your hands. And then again, just kind of check in. This is such a great shape to take twice, because we get to repeat and really check in with what might change this time or what we stay the same in and where we feel that shift in the body. Remember, you could ragdoll. You could grab for the outsides of the ankles. You could do the grab for the elbows here, or again, sometimes I really like keeping my heart up. I love that length in my spine as well. Take a few more breaths. We're gonna come out of this again the same way we did. So let's lift the heart. Turn the toes out, heels in, drop into your hips, bring your hands to your thighs, thumbs on the inside, revolve your goddess. Almost like a little quick rinse out of the spine. And again, you kind of nudge those hips open as much as you want to create some space. Can you still wiggle the toes so your feet are really wide here? And then when you're ready, pausing in the middle to power through the feet, rise up, stretch up, 5-point star, big stretch. Jazz hands, anybody? Whoa! Shoulders away from the ears. Take up some space. Look at me. Well, you're saying look at me. Don't look at me. You don't need to look at me. Bring your hands in and let's walk your right foot closer to your left foot to the back of your mat. I'm going to face away from you, so I'm kind of doing the same thing. And then my sunflower flow. Step your right foot out, throw it down, bring it back up. Right foot every time. And throw it down. Give yourself that breath. You could do dragon's breath. You could stick out your tongue and just go, hey. What do you need to get rid of? Is there something in there? Something you've released through your hips, something from the week? Let it go, let it go. When you're ready, we start to walk the right foot back toward the front of the mat in your warrior two. Give it a second pass. Did that feel like some yoga rinsing? I don't know. Sometimes I realize I just need that energy to just move and breathe. When you are ready, lengthen briefly, and this is that hip turning from open to neutral. I'm going to start to turn my legs to face the front of the mat. I'm up on the left tippy toes if that feels available. Just this brief moment. Maybe you cactus the arms. So I'm back to hips facing the front. So noticing where the stretch is now, particularly in that left, maybe hip flexor, quadricep. If you're in cactus arms, feel your jaw soften. Take a breath to expand your heart. Heading to airplane, maybe you keep these arms. Creep the left foot maybe a little closer and see about floating the left leg. And almost thinking about if you've done like a Superman lift on your belly before, right? I'm really squeezing the muscles in my back. I'm not only balancing, but giving so much love to my lower back right here. The toes can stay down, your arms can go to your sides. See if you can tilt up and grab left foot, left hand. Feel free to take a pause in the middle with the left foot down. Use your right hand on support if that starts to help you. We're staying on one leg. If you're going to try anything with Dancer, could you grab the arch side of your foot? It just helps keep the knee more positioned safely. Kick, kick, kick. It's all it is. It's a kick into your hand. The kick might tilt your upper body. The kick might feel like it wants a counterbalance with your right arm out. There's no right way to have to do this, but use that kick into your hand. Take a few more breaths wherever you are. And when you are ready, we meet at the top of the mat, 2 feet side by side. Take a big breath up. Exhale, hands to heart. We call that a freedom breath. Do one more. Your big breath in. Let it go. Breathe it out. Arms at your sides, palms forward. Mountain pose. Maybe you close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat, just kind of tuning out from everything around you. If you close your eyes, can you bring your attention to feel the beating of your heart? Might be a little energy there coming out of those last few shapes. Let your kneecaps get a little bit softer. Maybe you wiggle your toes. Feel the ground beneath your feet. You are here. A mountain pose, a pose of strength no matter what is swirling around you. In your days, in your current state of being, whatever is happening around you, you are here, strong and resilient. When you're ready, blink your eyes open if they're closed, bringing your hands to your heart. We're going to take some time to flush it out and come back to the mat. So I'm going to bring again one of my blocks in front of my feet just to have as I start to make my way down. When you feel ready, 2 feet top of the mat, take another big breath up, and your thoughtful hinge to maybe connect in that more halfway lift position. Remember that with the spine really long. You could head to more of a ragdoll. So I know we took a wide fold twice. Now we're back to more hip distance feet, but you can widen them. But check in, we've done a lot since we were here last. So this might be just kind of a reminder how much your lower back has been supporting you. When you are ready, I'd really encourage you to lift your heart and your chin and then help yourself kind of shimmy and crawl to tabletop. So I tend to go just one limb at a time to take that thoughtful progression. And then once you're in tabletop, kind of scooting your body again back from the top of your mat so you have space. Find whatever movements you would most appreciate. And by you, I mean your body. Just kind of checking, can you let your body guide you? Maybe it's cows, cats, cobras, the full gamut of the C shapes. Maybe it's just coming to child's pose. But I hope you can kind of let your brain step aside. Don't feel like there's a to-do list or a ticker of things you must do right here. Give yourself the space to connect somewhere. It might be another downward facing dog. Maybe that would feel really good to your body right here. Maybe it's more of that puppy pose, right, with tabletop legs. Maybe it's more child's pose. And if there's any sort of pulsing movement with breath, feel free. Maybe it's taking those couple of exhales to just let your body be really surrendered into the ground. Inhale and exhale. Maybe inhale to feel some goodness for making this time. Exhale again, just releasing some of now the narratives, the mind chatter that might be sitting here with you. Full breath in, full breath out. When you're ready, let's come around, just passing through tabletop to come to sit. And I'd invite you to sit with your feet toward the top of your mat. I'm gonna bring my blanket over just to show you where it could be of use. So we're gonna play with a variation. I'm going to call it half hero pose. So it's going to be kind of a potential deep stretch in a quadricep, knee, maybe ankle. There's a lot of variations. So just kind of giving that space right away to just see wherever you land is where you land. Great choice. Ready? Right leg straight by Gail. And then left knee stays bent. I'm going to face you, I think, to start with. And then let's step the left foot a little wider. My hands are just kind of supporting by my hips. Notice if you're caving into your spine, if you can just kind of keep a little lift. And I'm going to turn the knee in and back up. So we're going in that inward direction of the hip. So many, even yoga classes, when they do hip class, it's all this way. It's all hip opening, but our hips are meant to go this direction. But you might feel how we don't do that very often. So your offering then is to hold. So to hold the knee inward, that might start to mean you help your left ankle come closer to your hips. You might get more bend in the knee. You might feel like you want to sit up with this. So there could be potential right hamstring stretch. You might find I'm going to lay back a little bit and kind of grab onto my left ankle with my left hand and get more of a lean back. Now there's one other little variation here. You might find the arch of your left foot is down, or you could actually move the ankle so the top of your foot is pushing into the floor. That's another really deep stretch. Hey, how you doing? Did you find that spot where you could just like lounge? If someone gave you a coffee in your left hand, you're just here. I'm hoping you're finding some sort of stretch. Some of you might find you actually want to lay all the way back, but that gives you the deeper stretch with your hip pressing toward the ceiling. Don't force that. We all have different range of motion for a number of reasons. So if you're not laying on your back, it doesn't mean you can't do this pose. Do you see how the progression gives everybody hopefully a place to find a stretch? When you are ready, could we all kind of push back up and help the left foot step over the right leg to set up for a seated twist? Kind of pull your right hip out of the way and your left hip out of the way so it feels like your sitting bones are really squished into the ground. And then we'll hug right arm around left leg. Feel that hug draw your spine up. Remember how we did that earlier, that we used an inhale to really lift and lengthen, and then an exhale to soften. We'll just stay. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Every flow of breath, even if that keeps you really present here to think. Inhale for length, Exhale, maybe the twist is a little bit more. You could even look over your left shoulder if you want to bring the twist through the neck. It's just a choice and how that feels for your body. And then we unwind to a counter twist. So I'm going to keep the legs. I'm just going to unwind to bring all 10 fingers to touch kind of off to the right side. Your left hip might lift. You might actually kind of round your upper back and let your shoulders cave in a little bit. That's certainly okay to just let this get a little squishy. And then let's unwind. Take the legs out, give them a shake, whatever you might want to do to just kind of rinse things out. We could find a dance here maybe. I don't know why I want to dance today. I know. Robot. Jane, that's really robot. I like that. My husband loves to do the robot. He's not very good at it, but he likes to do it. Okay. Left leg straight, hands next to your hips, right foot plants, knee bent. And again, my right foot is just kind of a little wider, and I'm going to focus on the knee in and out. And I do this a few times because I can feel the fact that there's just not a lot that we do in this inward rotation of the hip, but the hip joint is meant to go this direction. And again, I don't say that to set you up for what this must be, but just noticing. And then let's pause. So again, you could grab your blanket for anything that's going to be supportive here. Maybe you help your right ankle come closer. For me, that tends to bring more quadricep and knee stretch. Remember, there could be a lean back that starts to happen. You could also reposition your right foot so the top of the foot is down instead of the side of the foot, if that kind of makes sense. That little variation can mean quite a bit. You might very likely find that you go somewhere else with this side. I can say, like that last side I was able to demonstrate laying all the way down. I can't do that on this side. And it's just not, I can't like, oh, I can't. It's not available on this side. It's a difference and a distinction in the body. And that happens to us. So wherever you're spending a few more breaths, do just that. I hope you're finding some sort of stretch that, again, doesn't push you to anything uncomfortable, certainly not painful. Don't ever stay where there's pain. And then we start to all kind of meet to be upright, to step the right foot over the left foot. Do help your sitting bones kind of come out. So I'm like kind of lifting my hips out of the way so I can feel that rootedness. And then we find our upright twist with that potential hug of right elbow around left knee. You might even find there's a little added glute stretch in your right side here, but keep that continuous. Inhale for length, exhale for softening. Inhale for length of the spine, exhale to maybe find a little more in your twist. So this is that kind of twist where we've been through this whole practice. Your spine is ready for kind of that, oh, I like to say like a human dish rag. Just kind of wring yourself out. Take another full round of breath. On your next exhale, start to unwind to bring all 10 fingertips, legs stay off to the left side. You might lift up your right hip a little bit to let the hands touch, and you could certainly feel a little softening in your back. Let your breath move really freely here. And then when you're ready, coming up and around to let the legs unwind and shake whatever might feel good. And then as you start to come to prepare to be on your back, let's have feet at the top of your mat. And if you have blocks or dumbbells, know that dumbbells sometimes just, but they're more rigid, right? But you can use either. Can you have them next to your hips, just kind of on the lowest setting? So if it's dumbbells, are just laying on their side. And then if you want to have your blanket nearby, anything else you know you like to have as we come toward the end of practice. And then going from sitting to being on your back, however you like. Take your time and just noticing right away. Maybe it's, again, just telling your brain you can let go. There was a lot that we did today that really had a level of strength within our stretch. So what does it feel right now, hey Tessa, to let your body just really soften? You are held. Let go through your face. Hi, Cha-Cha. I'm watching some screens here. When grandbabies join the practice, that's as good as fur babies, I think. Give your legs a little sway, a little stretch, and then maybe seeing how it feels if you haven't already to actually take a full body stretch. I like to lengthen my legs and my arms more in a star shape. So remember how we did that 5-point star? I don't really like to be a pencil, but I'm just offering you to know that there's places you can stretch the limbs. And if that doesn't feel right, keep your knees bent. And then I want to give you a few breaths in, it's called Suptavada Konasana. It's kind of fun to say in Sanskrit. It's basically butterfly shape on your back. Let's bring the knees to bend, feet planted, and we'll start to let the knees open with the offering of maybe catching your legs with your blocks or dumbbells. So my hope is, we kind of talked about this at the beginning when we took that wide shape of the legs. I would love for you to get to a place where you can just absolutely melt into this shape. My hip flexors don't have the range of motion to be open till my knees touch the floor. So that's why I'm using those supports. So then I can fully relax through the hips. Can you check in with your lower back? My hope is your spine feels like it would be if you were standing up. So you're not flattening your lower back, but I'm not arching. You might have to reposition where your feet are to help ensure that your back isn't arched off the mat. Take a few more rounds of breath here. You might come back to bringing one hand to belly, one hand to heart. Again, just kind of feeling where your breath is moving in and out of the body. Using your exhales to feel just that added layer of surrender. And then taking just a moment to consider, we're going to shift our body toward wherever you might feel best in your rest today. If this is feeling really delightful and restorative, please feel free to stay. If you're considering shifting from this shape, I would use your hands to help close your legs like you're closing the covers of a book, just because they got to be really passive there, kind of help your legs come back up. And if there's any other shape or pose that you are most craving right now, inviting you to find that, and then making your way to wherever your body does feel most available to be in stillness for just a few more moments. You could be laying on your side, you could be staying in that butterfly shape, you could be lying on your back, you could even come to be seated. The space that we carve out so intentionally in our practice after those moments of movement and breath and dynamic shapes, that we come to pause. This added layer of being on our mat to help reset and restore in our body, in our brain, whatever that space, that restoration is that you may most be needing right now. I will give you just another few moments here, your space, your rest. I will go off camera briefly, and then I will bring you right back. And slowly start to bring awareness back to your body, inviting you to perhaps stay where you are for just a few moments, where you're simply more aware of where you are, of the space around you. Your eyes could be staying closed. tuning into that little layer of awareness without any movement, drawing some attention back to just the natural cadence of your breath right here, just that gift of the flow of breath when we don't even have to think about it, that pattern of inhale and exhale, and letting those initial moments help you choose your next steps. Know that you can stay right where you are for as long as your space and time allow. No expectation from me that you change or reposition your body, but I want to give you some time to find some movement if that's feeling right, to maybe consider where it is that you want to close your time on your mat. Again, knowing you can stay where you are. Maybe you consider joining me. I'm seated on my mat, eyes closed. Again, no expectation that you join me, but giving you that opportunity to find a position again where you just land, feeling your spine grow. What would that feel like to draw the crown of your head away from your tailbone, no matter where you are? And particularly if you're upright, maybe you join me to take a deep breath in, reach your arms up, stretch yourself up, exhale, press your palms together wherever you are, bringing your hands down until your thumb knuckles are right over your heart space, and just create a little space between your palms as though you're holding something. Anything that you want to hold from your time on your mat today. Particular sensation, maybe a thought, a feeling that it might be worth just honoring right here to carry into the rest of your day and the weekend ahead. I am holding on to gratitude, so much gratitude for you all welcoming me into your weekend, into your space, into your day. I wish you so much peace and ease in your body and your mind. And I acknowledge that there is love and light in me, and that love and light sees, honors, and bows to the love and light in each and every one of you. Namaste.